from Mr. Norman Sargent. He always likes this particular song, and Herman's going to pick it on the guitar for you. He does a great job. It's one of my favorites, too. He's going to do one called Under the Double Eagle. To come up here on stage for just a minute. Pat, we understand you're out there in the snack bar. Would you come up here and join us for a few minutes? Maybe if we make enough noise, we can get Pat Crooker. Here she comes. A nice round of applause for Miss Pat Crooker. We wanted to take just a couple of minutes and thank Pat. You know, she's been real good for us. She's had us up here at this festival for the past 11 years, and we really, really appreciate that. You know, when you get someone promoting bluegrass like this and being such a nice person to boot, we really appreciate her, and we have a little plaque we'd like to give her. So. It says, to Pat Crooker and staff of Thomas Poiint Beach, we thank you so much for letting us be a part of the Bluegrass Festival for the past 11 years, and we thank her so much.
And I have to tell you, this is the only band that's played all 11 of them, so give them a big hand.
Oh, the guys like this part of it. That's why they're just standing back there not saying much. That's what it is. While we're in the keys that we are, you know, we have another special guest that we'd like to get up here. I saw her just go back with the fiddle. And we'd like to present this young person. She's 16 years old. She comes from down in Connecticut way. She's a terrific musician, and we thought she was so great. We wanted you people up here at Thomas Point Beach to hear this girl. She's a great girl, so how about giving her a nice round of applause to Cathy Bumgarner?
She's a member of the Rose City Bluegrass Band down in Connecticut. Nice people.
She's a little bit nervous, but, you know, she's got a whole family of bluegrass musicians there, and she's a great, great person. So I think you're really going to enjoy her. We're going to turn her loose on an instrumental right now, and we're going to try to follow her.
She's quite a musician. She plays guitar, I guess, and she plays the mandolin and the fiddle. She's a good-looking girl, too, ain't she? She's beautiful, right? Thank you. We're going to do another tune here right now that we put on the last tape that we did, and it's another Charlie Moore tune. It's a fine piece of material. It brings back a lot of memories, and I know it was wrote from the heart. When this man lived his songs, if you didn't believe it, you could see it in his face, in his body. Body and soul.
And we're going to keep Cathy up here and just let her play along with, isn't she great, Miss Cathy Bumgarner? This is a real pretty song, one called The Fiddler.
singer sung his last song, and the man loved the guitars and dobro his part, and the loud noisy crowd is gone home. There's nothing as quiet as a night with no music, or as dark as a night with no stars. There's nothing as lonesome as a cold, lonely room, just a wandering all night where you are. As we walked together, the music was playing. The wind whispered soft through the trees. With your arms around me, you whispered, and the words seemed to float on the breeze. There's nothing as quiet as a night with no music, or as dark as a night with no stars. There's nothing as lonesome as a cold, lonely room, just wandering all night where you are.
I missed the part, I love you.
As we walked together, the music was playing. The wind whispered soft through the trees. With your arms around me, you whispered,
I love you. I
and the
love you.
words seemed to float on the breeze. There's nothing as quiet as a night with no music, or as dark as a night with no stars. There's nothing as lonesome as a cold, lonely room, just a wandering all night where you are. All right. Hazel let me down on that one.
Yes, sir, I
I know
forgot
why.
my part.
I know why. Did you hear her mic fall out of her bass a while ago? That was a fallout. That's why she's mad at me. I didn't put it in there just right when we started.
We're going to call on these two fiddle players. Cathy's such a talented musician, and Bill too, and we're going to feature them a little bit on this program. We do have a couple of requests we'll do after this, and then we have one more special guest in just a few minutes that we'll get up. And I think they're about settled on what they're going to do. No, they're not? Well, you know what? Maybe we'll do a song that we had a request for, and then we'll get back to that one in the key of it. Yes, we got to do the title cut of our second album here, and we'll let them discuss which song they want to do. And we're going to do this song right here. Several people have asked for this particular song, too, and it's kind of a pretty one. And we enjoy doing this one, too, and we appreciate you asking for it.
We got it figured out now. We've been ready.
All right, we're going to do this particular song. It's a real pretty one for those that asked for it. One called The Last Request.
Our golden years have slipped upon us. I can see the wrinkles in your face. Each silvery So won't you please grant this last request? Bury me in a garden, love, where the flowers come so sweet. Let their petals fall around me, love, while I'm sleeping in sweet peace. Bury me in a garden, love, where the flowers come so sweet. And their petals fall around me, love, while I'm sleeping in sweet peace. And their petals fall around me, love, while I'm sleeping in sweet peace.
We're going to get back. We're going to end our program with this particular song. And after we end this, our own set, we'd like to ask you all to sit right there because we have a very special surprise for everybody. And this particular song was just done by the band that was just up here. And we had a couple of requests to do this too. So we're going to do this now, and it takes us about 5 minutes, and then we'll get our special guest up. So even though at the end of our program, we would like to ask you to sit right there for a minute, and I think you'll really enjoy what's going to come up with our special guest.
But Mr. Monroe is not here yet.
We go off with this song right here, and it's the most requested fiddle tune that there is.
got a special guest, ladies and gentlemen. This is a gentleman come over from Nova Scotia. We don't have to tell you much about him. All we're going to do is let him tell you himself. And we met him up there 3 or 4 years ago over in Kings County. We did a festival over there. And this gentleman is from Hogs Waller. Hogs Holler. Uncle Jake, give him a nice hand.
How y'all? My golly, it's good to see y'all out here. You know something? I gotta tell you, there's one other day that Miss Hazel forgot to say I love you. There's one other day that I remember, and that was when she turned 40 years old. Yeah, Mac over here, he said to her, he says, you're getting to be over the hill. Kind of teasing, And he says, I think I'll go out there and find myself a couple of 20-year-olds. She looks at him and she says, honey, you ain't wired for 220. Well, I gotta tell you, I'm from Hogs Holler, and that's in Nova Scotia. And I was back to the holler, a while ago. Yeah, from Annapolis Valley, ain't it? Yeah. Yeah, I was back to the holler a little while ago. I went to my mama and my papa's 50th wedding anniversary, Yeah, I heard my papa say to my mama, he says, Margie, he says, I sure am proud of you. Mama's hard of hearing. She says, hey, Jake, what you say? He said, I sure am proud of you. She said, yeah, I'm tired of you, too. Yeah, he says, Margie, he says, you got to get yourself a new hearing aid. He says, I got one here, the best little hearing aid ever made. Well, she says, what kind is it? He said, 3:30. Speaking about hearing aids, I went up to see my grandma and my grandpa. Well, I said to Grandpa, I said, how's Grandma been lately? Well, he said, she's awful confused, Jake. I said, what you mean, confused? Well, he says, I was sitting across the table from her the other morning, and I noticed something funny. And I said to her, I said, do you know you got a suppository in your ear? She says, huh? He said, do you know you got a suppository in your ear? Well, she takes it out and looks at it and says, uh-oh, I wonder what I've done with my hearing aid. I forgot to take her a present, and I always take Mama a present every time I go, you see. So I was out to the barn with Papa, and I seen this little kitty cat running loose down there. So I picked up the kitty cat, and I took it into the house and gave it to Mama. Mama says, that's awful kind of you, Jake, but she says, them darn things are so hard to train. Well, I said, no, they ain't, Mama. All you got to do is when it dirty's on the floor, you rub its nose in it and toss it out the window. Sure enough, 3 days later, I got a call from Mama. And I said, by the way, Mama, I said, how you doing with the kitty cat? Oh, she says, Jake's got to be the smartest kitty cat ever was. I said, well, what do you mean? Well, she says, for 3 days now, I've been rubbing its nose in its dirt and throwing it out the window. Now it got so it rubs its own nose in it and jumps out the window. Yeah, I got to tell you about Aunt Lizzie. Aunt Lizzie, she's an old maid, No, she ain't never married or anything. Yeah, and she was waiting for the bus one day. It was a hot day like it is today, and these old maids, they all bundle up, and she had this skirt on, was long, clear to her ankles, and it was kind of tight, and go right up around her neck like this, and she's getting hot. She goes, whew, whew, she says, I gotta unzip my zipper, so she pulls it down, got stuck halfway down, so she pulls it back up again, wait a little longer for the bus. By and by, she says, I gotta try this again. So she pulls it down again, stuck again, halfway down. So she pulls it back up again. Waiting around, finally that old bus comes. And she went to get on the bus, and her skirt was too tight. She couldn't get her leg up far enough. Young fellow behind her picks her up, puts her on the bus, and she turns around, looks at him. She said, how dare you? She said, I don't even know you. He said, lady, about the second time you pulled down my zipper, I thought we was getting to know each other pretty good. And I gotta tell you, I met a years, and we got talking old times, you know. I said, Billy Joe, do you remember going to school with a new teacher in town? And he said, sure do. I said, remember Wagon Wheel Johnson? Oh, yeah, never forget Wagon Wheel. It seems, you know, see, we was going to school and this new teacher come, and she was asking everybody their names. Come to Wagon Wheel, she says, now what's your name, sonny? He says, Wagon Wheel Johnson. She says, now you ain't gonna pull no funnies on me. She says, you tell me what your name is. And he said, it's Wagon Wheel Johnson, teacher. She says, look, she says, how'd you ever get a name like that? Well, he says, when I was born, she says, there's so many kids in my family, my pappy said that he was gonna name me the first thing he seen. And he was looking right fair and square out the window at the wagon wheel, and he named me Wagon Wheel Johnson. Now, she says, you get on out of this here classroom, and don't you come back until you're ready to tell me your right name. Well, he gets out to the door, and he turns the doorknob, turns around, looks at his little brother, and he says, come on, handshake, she ain't gonna believe you neither. Well, look, I'm gonna get out of here. Before I do, I'm gonna tell you a story. Well, folks, I ain't coming back here. They're laughing. I got a little story I want to tell you. It's about me and a friend of mine. We decided to make some homemade brew. Well, my wife, she found out about it. Said we had to get rid of Oreo. Well, since I didn't like the way she said Oreo, I proceeded to carry out her instructions. Well, I took the 10 little bottles to the basement and I put them up there on the drain board. Picked up the first bottle and I pulled a cork out of it and I poured it down the sink. All except one little swallow, which I drank. Well, I picked up the next bottle and I pulled the sink out of it and I poured it down the sink. All except one little swallow, which I drank. Well, I picked up the next squirt and I pulled the sink out of it and I poured it down the bowl. All except one easy little swallow, which I sang. You know, you used to have some trouble this year, no? 'Cause I come from a whole great long line of stank drinkers. Whew. I had an uncle once who used to drink a quart a day and he wouldn't even stagger. Heck, he couldn't even move. She used to tell him, you gotta stop drinking that stuff, it's gonna kill you. Sure enough, it killed him. He died last year at the age of 102. So Lamb took him up last week, looked better than you all do.
Now, once again, the importance of staying off the canvas strip will become evident. Does he make it without foul?